Facing justice, but not the cameras. Niels Högel was once a nurse charged with helping patients, but in court he admitted to killing scores of them.
This story took place in Germany with a nurse killing over 100 of its patients. My name is Fitz. If you liked videos about the dark, mysterious, and interesting topic, please absolutely destroy that like button until his body is absolutely unrecognizable to the autopsy report. Please absolutely destroy that like button until his body is completely unrecognizable, and when they go to do the autopsy, it came back with no one. This story is about Niels Hogel. He grew up in Wilhelmshaven in West Saxony, Germany. He grew up highly protected. He was around his parents most of the time, with his father and grandmother both being nurses. He decided he should also step into the nursing field. When he became of age, he decided to start his journey as a nurse. In Germany, it's a little different from the US, with nursing being just a course compared to the US, where you spent countless years trying to learn all these different skills. He finally completed his training in 1997, which he got his first job at St. Wilhelm Hospital when he was just 21 years old. In 1999, he moved hospitals, transferring from St. Wilhelm to a different clinic. He accepted a job at Oldenburg Clinic, in which he took care of people in the ICU at a cardiac surgery ward known as Ward 211. After working there for 7 years, staff members noticed that the death rates were going up. They called in a meeting in which Niels was there for most of the death, and he knew that they were onto him. So what he did after this meeting, he called out the next day and would not be seen again for 3 weeks at this hospital. When he left the hospital for 3 weeks, they noticed the death rates were decreasing. Less people were actually dying the less time he was there. A couple weeks later, he came back to work. With him entering the building, his head physician of his ward, which was Ward 221, came back up to him and asked him if he could switch units. He accepted the transfer, and they transferred him to the anesthesiologist unit in 2001. This is where they really started to get suspicious. They noticed that Niels always tried to force himself into emergency situations. And every time he forced himself into a situation, the patient has a higher chance of dying. They never accused him of anything outright, but they made it obvious that they wanted him gone. After his conversation with doctors, one of the clinic leaders came up to him and asked him if he could transfer units again or he gets fired. Niels not liking these options, because the clinic leader told him if he was supposed to transfer a unit, he would get transferred to the logistic unit, which just moves patients throughout the hospital, which means less people's lives would be in danger. Niels not liking this, he began looking for a new job, and surprisingly, he got a reference letter from one of his superiors, which depicted him as a hardworking, great, amazing, loving, caring, just straight up a good nurse. In December of 2002, Niels got a new job at this new clinic. With him only being at this clinic for 5 months, the death toll already started to rise, and the hospital took note of this. Fatality rose every time he was at the hospital. Patients would die from blood and heart problems, but the superiors were always sus of him but never accused him. One day, his coworkers found 4 empty vials of agamine, which can cause very severe heart and blood problems. The coworkers picked it up, brought it to the leader of the clinic, and they did an ongoing investigation. And they found no doctors prescribed this medicine to any of its patients. Who could have possibly gave these patients this strong drug? But in June 2005, one of his coworkers actually found him sabotaging a patient's medication pump. They learned he was injecting the patients with the same medicine they found on him 3 years prior, a Gemeline. They called the cops, and now he was suspected of murder. They started investigating him, and they found out he was actually tampering with many patients throughout the years, from previous hospitals to this hospital. With this hospital, they asked for the time cards of the patient's death. They connected the dots and found out Niels was the one actually doing all these killings. He faced 5 years in prison with a suspension on his nursing license. He was found guilty in December 2006. His conviction got reversed for a larger sentence of 7 years, and his nursing license got fully revoked. In 2014, when he was close to being released, he decided to finally confess. In his confession, he admitted he took the life of 90 patients in the final clinic that he worked at, and then once they found this out, they extended his sentence to life in prison. But that's not the end of the case. He continued to say that out of his full run, From his first hospital to his last, he killed over 300 plus patients. He even got his own task force to help them solve the case called Cardio. They suspected him of killing over 100 more patients, but because the patients were either decomposed or cremated, they couldn't fully find out if he killed those other patients. We may never really know his true motive behind doing this, and they suspected him of doing this so he could kill his patients and impress his coworkers that he could revive them, which he did successfully, like to 30 people, but then killed 300 more plus people. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. People be just different. The amount of weird stuff I've been looking up ever since I started this channel, crazy. Let me know what y'all think in the comment I should do next, because I've seen there's some crazy stuff out there. DM me on Instagram if you want to see other videos. Follow me, do all that. Subscribe, do all that. Do all that. Do all that.